Okay, hi everyone. I'm back home from work. I haven't been feeling well the past couple of days, but I pretty much recently just shared like the story time videos about my arrest from back in March. So it's August. May, June, July, August. So 5 months ago, right? And I guess some people are like commenting or rewatching the videos I made at that time is kind of like forcing me to somewhat relive that situation, even though this was like 5 months ago. And by the time you guys see this, you'll have like the full, I guess, videos of what happened, like at my court date. So my DUI did get reduced to reckless driving. I got my license back. I'm on probation for a year. I had a fine and community service, and I finished my community service already. The fine is what is taking me long to pay off at the moment because I had a lot of unexpected bills come up. But rewatching the videos and reading people's comments, it's honestly, I don't know. I feel like looking back, that situation in and of itself is just was not fun to be in, but I also think I just have so much regrets about everything. Like that whole night, I just wish I had just stayed home and had never gone out because, ending up in the situation and being arrested. And I feel like the other part of the whole thing is I still feel like I shouldn't have. I personally feel like I shouldn't have been arrested to begin with because I know I wasn't, well, this is the thing looking back at it. It's like you can't control the consequences or like what happens to you. It's like looking back now, I know like one, I probably would have done the breathalyzer instead of, and in the story time I even tell you guys like basically I think he was trying to like trick me into doing it. He didn't tell me like, oh well, I want you to take this breathalyzer, it's required for you to take it in the state of Georgia and yada yada yada. He was basically like shoved something in my face and said blow on this, and I was like, oh, do I have to do that? He was like, oh well, no, you don't have to. And so once he made it seem like I didn't have to do it, I was like, oh well, no, I'm not going to do it then. And that basically made my situation worse because they marked that as refusal and used that against you, when in reality I was just like, in my head he made it seem like it was optional, right? Like it wasn't something I had to do. It's just so much. Anyway, someone commented that, I don't know, someone sent my mugshot to them, and I'm like, that's so weird, and was talking badly about me, and I don't know, that to me is just like wild to think about. But I think at the end of the day, I was never, trying to hide the situation. It was more just like I didn't feel comfortable talking about it until I at least had like a resolution for it. And, it's not a fun situation to be in. I would not recommend it for anyone. But I also don't think it's right to, shame and put other people down for their situations or for their past or for their mistakes. Because at the end of the day, no one's perfect. But I think me having some sort of platform, even though I don't like considering it that, I feel like being, honestly, anytime you put something on the internet, it just, you make room for people to judge you, which I've said in multiple videos, and that's something that I'm still kind of just have to either learn to not care or just, say, you know what, I just don't think I want to put myself out there anymore. And which I've done, like I've taken plenty of breaks off of social media for that reason. But honestly, that's one thing I kind of don't like about one thing I kind of don't like is that, anytime someone's arrested, it's publicized basically. And then, I don't know, it can have, it can just have adverse effects on someone's mental health, especially thinking about, like, how many people can get, like, bullied or picked on or ostracized because of stuff like that. Like, and I know I'm not, like, a huge person on social media or anything like that, but just imagine, like, you're already going through a hard situation and then having other people, like, comment and jump to conclusions and assume the worst and everything else. My situation, I do think is still, like, it was, I don't know. I feel like I was shocked the entire time I was being arrested, so I still was just, like, not understanding. Not even not understanding, just, like, I can't believe this is happening type thing. But also, I wasn't prepared because I'm just, like, it's one thing if you are, like, I don't know how to say it. It's just like, if you are intentionally doing something wrong, to, like, look out for something or to avoid certain things. But when you're not, intentionally or not aware you're doing something, I don't even know. Basically, just for my whole situation, I feel like it was very great. It was just like, it was very hard for me to just not even accept. I just feel like there was so much just uncertainty, at least on my behalf, because I still struggle with, like, okay, like, did I actually deserve to be arrested? Would it have been differently if I had done the breathalyzer? Like, was I actually over the alcohol content? Because, again, in my mind, I was okay to drive. I wasn't drunk, and I didn't think I was doing anything wrong. But when I got pulled over, I kind of started doubting myself. And, one of the reasons I didn't want to take the breathalyzer is because I'd had those 2 drinks earlier at the bar, and I wasn't, I knew I wasn't 100% sober, as I knew I had been drinking earlier that night, and so I honestly didn't want to take the breathalyzer because I didn't want it to show I've been drinking at all. And that's kind of the part where I'm like, You know, you wouldn't have anything to hide if you weren't if I wasn't drinking at all. Even if I wasn't drunk, I had been drinking, you know? But I also don't think like having a couple of drinks and driving is the same as being drunk and driving. So I feel like that's a big part of my kind of not unwillingness to accept, but kind of just me feeling like, okay, I don't feel like I was truly, you know, risking a risk to myself or others. But regardless, I still ended up in the situation I'm in, and I didn't get a lawyer, and I probably would have gotten the charges dismissed if I had gotten a lawyer, but I didn't have money for one at the time. I was still working at my old job, so I was broke, struggling, and, you know, just had to take the public defender and got the deal that I got. Not that it's just, it was a sucky situation for me to be in regardless, but I also think I didn't realize how serious it was until, like, I started getting all of these negative things, like, I can't do Uber anymore, I can't do Instacart anymore because of the arrest, y'all. Not even because of the actual charges, it was just because of the arrest, because I hadn't even gone to court, and Uber basically said, oh, you were arrested for a DUI, you can't drive with us anymore. Anyways, so I did face a lot of unexpected consequences after that. My license was suspended for like a week or so as well, and because they pushed my court date got pushed back. There's so many things. And I was also really scared, like, it was gonna affect me being able to get other jobs, having, like, a DUI, and people questioning, you know, my character and my morals and all of these things that, people will, you know, try to assume about you based off of, you know, that sort of thing, which is why I feel like even my friends that I went out, like, I had gone out with that night were all so shocked, because they're like, Jasmine, you barely even drink, you hardly go out, how is it that you ended up being the one getting a DUI? That's what I like to call irony. But overall, looking back, I think everything still happens for a reason. I do think this situation happening to me helped my friend decide to become sober. And I also feel like it also helped me, you know, not stop going out so much, because one, I just really don't think anything good happens going out late at night. Like, yeah, sometimes it can be fun, but I think there's another story time that I shared. So after I was arrested, I was like, I'm not going out ever again. And if I do go out, I'm definitely not drinking. Like, I'm never going to drink while I'm out. if I'm driving or if, you know, like, basically it's just like I'm never going to put myself in that situation again where I have to question if I'm okay to drive, you know? I'm never going to put myself in that situation because I don't want to have to question or have doubts about, you know, am I good to drive? I want to know I am because I haven't been drinking, you know? Sorry. So anyways, and then towards the end of July, I was gonna go out for like the first time in like 4 months. And then I witnessed a crime scene of a triple shooting, and that like spooked me real bad. I was like, okay, God, I get it. You're telling me not to go out. And I wasn't planning on drinking. I just wanted to go out and, you know, I don't know. Like I said, it's really just for me, it's just like going out. I do think it gets old after a while. It's not really that fun for me most of the time, but every now and again I don't mind. So I was like, okay, well, you haven't been out in like 4 months. You should try. Then I witnessed that thing. I was like, okay, I'm not going out. Like, I need to be in my home by 10 p.m. each night. So basically, I think a lot of things that I've experienced or that happened were necessary for me to, you know, either get off of the wrong path or just to, you know, lessons to learn. Like, don't put yourself in the bad situations. And like, if I had continued going out, who knows what worse things could have happened. So basically, even though it sucks, you know, one, being arrested, having that on my record, my car insurance went up also. It's just like I have to deal with so many repercussions, consequences because of it. And, you know, it's not fun, it sucks, but I can't change what happened, right? I can't change the choices I made, even if they weren't choices I intentionally made, you know. What's the word I'm looking for? It's like you don't know the outcome. Sometimes you don't know the outcome of certain things until it's too late sometimes. But as I also mentioned in the story time, I had like a gut feeling that whole night to stay home that I ignored. So I can't blame nobody but myself because I was definitely warned. So all of that to say, one, no one has the right to judge other people, especially not knowing like the full situation. Two, you know, I don't know. I just think I'm honestly trying to figure out how whatever person was sharing my mugshot would have found it unless they were like looking it up, and I'm trying to figure out where they would have looked it up from unless they, I don't know. I guess I have mentioned where I lived before. Anyways, y'all, I'm not ashamed of my past. I take full responsibility, you know, even if I didn't feel like at the time I was taking a risk or doing something wrong. I do understand that, you know, if you are not, if, like, and this is what I want to say. I also just want to say this too, like, it's one thing, like, everyone has different levels of tolerance at the end of the day, but, you know, some people can have, you know, 5 drinks, be good, and nothing happen, and, like, not feel anything. Other people can have 1 drink and be like, oh, tipsy. I also think, too, in my situation, this is where I feel like I have the, what is the phrase I'm looking for? Something of the doubt. Not even benefit of the doubt, but it's just like the doubt that I had is because it could be possible I wasn't feeling the alcohol until later on that night, because sometimes it takes a while for it to hit you. But I also never felt like I was not in control of myself or my body. But again, I always will have to second guess a lot of things, because I did have doubt if I was good to drive that I ignored. And me ignoring my own doubt means that I wasn't 100% sure I was okay to drive. So at the end of the day, I have to be accountable. I mean, at this point, it's like, it's already mostly behind me. Like, I don't think that it's something that I need to, like, keep rehashing or anything. But I'm so sorry. I keep, like, coughing every 2 minutes. I promise y'all I'm okay. Anyways, it's not the end of the world, you know. I think it's so easy, especially I think, here's the thing. I think a lot of people can make a poor choice, and some people will never face consequences for their choices. There's people who do a lot of things that basically make a lot of decisions that are bad, have consequences, but not everyone doesn't always face consequences for their actions, right? So it's like, just because I got arrested doesn't mean that someone else is better than me who's never been arrested but has also done similar things, you know? It's just like, I just happened to be the person who got pulled. Well, I made the mistake. The first mistake I made was going out. The second mistake I made was ordering a drink that I didn't know how much alcohol was in it. And there's lots of mistakes. Mistakes were made. There's multiple mistakes made. But anyways, I think there's a lot of people who do things that never face repercussions for them. I'm someone facing repercussions for them. And I always feel like, you know, it's like, I can't, not that I can't do wrong, but it's just like, I'm the person who, if I at any point decide to break any type of rule, I'm the person who's gonna get in trouble for it. You know, like, think about, like, if you're at your job and you see, like, a coworker doing something that they're not supposed to be doing. Like, if at any point, I'm not going to participate, right? But if I did, for some reason, decide to participate, I would be the one getting in trouble, getting a write-up, getting a verbal, getting whatever. It's just like, I'm always the person that people decide to enforce the rules on for whatever reason. So it's just like, if I do any type of thing wrong in life, I'm going to be I'm gonna be dealing with consequences. I feel like, personally, for me, that's what it seems like most of the time. Anyways, overall, I think it's no one's place to judge. I've already am dealing with the consequences as it is. I'm not encouraging people to do what I did. It's not something, it's not like I'm out here celebrating any of the things that I'm dealing with. So it's more of like cautionary tale, if anything. Like, be safe. One, I would encourage people not to go out. It's not safe. Nothing good is really happening after 10 p.m. And I would highly recommend that you don't go out and drink. If you are someone who drinks, I would say drink at home. But honestly, I would encourage people to limit how much alcohol they consume altogether, because alcohol honestly is not good for you anyways. It's literally poison. And I also know I shared the video about being sober. So the thing is, I never really drank that much prior to when I had started going out. So I've never been a big drinker. I've never been someone who's like, oh, I need a drink. But occasionally I will enjoy a drink for like a special occasion. Like, I've had a bottle of Stella Rosa in my fridge for probably about 2 or 3 months now, and it's still halfway full, because I'll maybe drink a glass of wine once every couple of months. I just don't drink like that. So I feel like being sober for me isn't a challenge, but basically I'm sober in support of my friend. So like, I know my friend who did have like a drinking problem. I want to support her sobriety mainly, is what it is, and that's why I'm like, okay, I'm going to limit drinking as much as possible. But I also know, like, I could, and honestly, I feel like I don't really have a desire to drink alcohol anyways. Like, sometimes I'll be like, oh, I'll want to try a drink, but I'll just have one drink and that's it. Anyways, I feel like I'm just sharing my perspective, but also, warning people about doing certain things. I also think for me, I was putting myself in risky situations that should not have put myself in. So yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say. Even before sorry, y'all. Even before, though, I made my story time video, I thought about making a thumbnail with the mugshot in it, but I was like, nah, that's too much. So I just put the before and after. Anyways, I just think, like, if people want to judge me, they can judge me. That's on them, not me. I know the person I am. I know my character. I know my morals. Did I make a mistake? Yes. That doesn't mean I'm a horrible person, and it doesn't mean that people have the right to put me down or make fun of me or mock me or judge me. So at the end of the day, I'm good. I'm not dwelling on the past. I am moving forward, focusing on you know, bettering myself, being a better person, you know, and doing the things God wants me to do. So I guess that's just how I have to think about things, you know. If people want to judge me, they can judge me. If people want to make fun of me, they can make fun of me, but that doesn't take away from who I am as a person, and it doesn't mean, you know, I'm any less deserving or should be treated worse, or, you know, I don't know. Just, I think some people do feel like, you know, if they see someone in a situation where they feel like, oh, I'm so much better than that person, that gives them the right to, you know, look down on that person. But, you know, to each their own. I guess I just have I made a mistake that's more public, I guess. So, but other than that, I think, you know, there's a lot of people who, you know, do things in private that they think no one sees. God sees everything. So anyways, I'm not even worried about what other people think. I care more about what God thinks about me, and God is always going to forgive and gives grace and loves people through the mistakes that they make. So, and also, according to the Bible, nobody's perfect. So I just don't think it's no one's right to judge but God's. But at the end of the day, God's judgment is the one that you should care most about, especially if you're a Christian. If you're a Christian who is going around judging other people and putting other people down, I feel like that's a heart issue, because, you know, the Bible says God will judge us the way that we judge others. So if you are quick to judge people and put them down for every little mistake, just expect that same judgment from God when it comes to your, you know, wrongdoings and shortcomings. Anyways, as people, all you can do is strive to be better. If you make a mistake, learn from it, grow from it. If there's a problem you're dealing with, like, you just have to work on yourself. And that's all I have pretty much documented on my YouTube channel. I'm working on my shopping addiction. I'm working on my finances and being better at saving. I'm working on, you know, getting my own place and getting in a financial stable job. Like, that's all I've ever really talked about, is I'm trying to better myself. I'm trying to grow. I'm trying to learn. You know, am I perfect? No. Do I fall short a lot of times? Yes. There's always going to be room for me to grow. And I feel like you should never stop trying to better yourself as a person, because if you get to a point where you think you're above and better than everyone, that's not, like, a good place to be. One, you're not humble. And two, you should not think of yourself as being so much better than everyone else. Like, I know I'm not better than anyone else. There's people who, like, I don't know. I don't feel the need to, like, be like, I'm better than so-and-so person. It's just like, everyone around me, regardless of who they are, I just see people as people, and everyone's worthy and deserving of love and grace and respect and all of those things. So I just think as long as you're willing to keep working on yourself, that's all that matters, you know. I follow someone on YouTube. Her name is Tina, and her whole YouTube page, well, one, I love that she shares her experience with addiction and being an addict, and she went to prison and all of these things. Like, imagine, like, people, there's so many people who would love to shame her for her past, but I love how she's so open about it and just, says, this was what I used to be like as a former addict, and this is what I like, the place she is in now. So it's just like, no one has the right to judge anyone for their past or mistakes that they made. I feel like you should support people as long as they're working on themselves and bettering themselves. And if someone is, struggling with an addiction or struggling with whatever it is, like, you shouldn't be trying to, shame them and make them feel worse. You should be trying to encourage them and uplift them and motivate them. Like, I don't know. Nobody's perfect. And I'd rather be someone who's gives people grace than someone who's just harsh and judgmental all the time. So yeah, and that's all I think I have to say. Sorry for the constant coughing. I'm trying to take a nap and it's not working, so alright, peace out, guys.